I almost stayed in the hotel, and man, am I glad that I didn't. So my Oregon Coast workshop starts tomorrow, and typically when you're shooting seascapes you want, you know, interesting skies and texture in the clouds and you know, just sky interest in general. Today it was really foggy, and just kind of on a whim I came up to here, which is Cape Sebastian, because I knew that there's some old growth forest here, and these fogging conditions just make this place so eerie and creepy and beautiful. I love this. So I always tell people, if you want a challenge, go into just a random forest and try to find a good composition, because it is a compositional exercise to say the least. It's so challenging to come into just, you know, a chaotic forest scene like this and try to make a good compositionally sound photograph. These conditions though really lend itself well to a shot like this, because, you know, the sense of mood and atmosphere that the fog brings in is just, it's gorgeous. It makes it beautiful. So I'm gonna walk around and see if I can find a composition. It's not gonna be easy, but I'm gonna try to make a composition of this tree in the background, and hopefully we can come away with something, because these conditions are just so cool. So one of the things that I kind of like to do is just walk around handheld and look through my viewfinder and just move my camera around, rather than trying to set up the tripod and slowing myself down, because really what I need to do at this point is just experiment with a lot of different compositions. So I'm moving my camera around, playing around with different focal lengths, and eventually I'll find something that I kind of like this, and that gives me an idea where I need to set up my tripod. So now that I have composition in mind, I'll go get my tripod, set it up, and try to get it in that exact spot. So I have a composition set up. Let me show you what it's looking like. So in this composition, I kind of have this branch that's fallen, filling up the bottom portion of my frame and creating these really strong kind of horizontal swooping lines, and I'm trying to have this side of the branch go directly into the corner of my frame. I have the main subject, the tree, dead center in the background, which kind of gives it this pyramid feel. One thing that I know I'm going to have to do when I edit this is to brighten up this right side so it doesn't feel heavy on this side and too bright on this side. So I'm going to do two shots here. First of all, I'm going to bring up my histogram and make sure that the left side of my histogram is up off the left side, not blowing out any highlights. Highlights don't really matter in this particular shot though. And then I'm going to take one shot where I'm focused in the background, 2-second timer, 25 seconds. All right, so now we're going to do another shot where we're going to focus on this limb that is closest to the camera. I'm shooting at f14, which gives me quite a bit of depth of field, but not enough depth of field to get everything sharp and in focus. So because it's such a long exposure, I have to be very still. And my foot isn't hitting my tripod or anything, but the ground is incredibly spongy. It's made up of pine straw and pine needles and pine cones, and so it's really spongy, and if I move, the ground underneath my tripod moves and I get a blurry shot. So I have to hold really still during the exposure. But I'm going to take those two exposures, layer them in Photoshop, do a slight focus stack, try to equal out the exposure on the right side of the frame, and hopefully come away with a good shot. I feel like it's an alright composition, but I feel like there's gotta be a better one out here somewhere, so I just gotta wander around. It is so quiet. I can hear the ocean over the cliff, but there's not another soul within probably a couple miles. This is really nice. So ideally in conditions like this, you want to find some kind of nice telephoto shot to really emphasize the amount of atmosphere you have in the air. But all I'm really finding are these kind of wide angle compositions, because in the distance there's not really any clear subjects. I do like this composition because of the limbs kind of leading you into the shot. I think that's kind of cool. But for the life of me, I can't find a nice telephoto shot, and I really want to find one. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move to a slightly different location, still in this kind of area, and see if we can find something a little bit more telephoto before the light gets too dim. It's already getting quite dim. Kind of creepy. But I love it. So I've been doing a little bit of window shopping, I guess you could say, just kind of looking for compositions down this road, because literally there's nobody here. This is just the road into the state park here at Cape Sebastian State Park, just outside of Gold Beach. There's nothing more rewarding and nothing more difficult than getting a really cool forest scene image. It's so challenging because it's just hard to come away with a solid composition because you're trying to make order of chaos. But I'm so glad that I came out and at least experienced this awesome atmospheric evening. This is so much better than just sitting in my hotel room editing a podcast. This is why I do photography, because this has just so much feeling and moodiness and everything I really like about an image. When you have conditions like this, it doesn't require very much post-processing because it's already got that atmosphere and feeling. It's impossible not to feel a little bit creeped out by whatever's down that road. Maybe that's a shot in itself. I really like the way the light's coming through the canopy. Maybe I'll take that shot. The workshop starts tomorrow. I'm excited to get started. I love the Oregon coast and I love sharing it with other people that haven't seen it yet. All right. I think that's it for the evening. Catch you in the morning.